Welcome to Recap Roman, and today I'm going to tell you about the 2016 film Wind River. Before we start, please subscribe and like it to help promote the channel. At the beginning of the movie we are shown a girl named Natalie running barefoot in the snow at night. Next shot we see a professional hunter named Corey Lambert. He hunts wild animals for the Department of Wildlife. Every weekend he picks up his son from his ex-wife to take him to his grandparents' house. There, the old man complains to him that someone killed his bull. After examining the place and seeing the tracks, he realizes that it is a she-wolf and several wolf cubs. He goes looking for them, but soon finds a new trail that leads him to the body of a dead, half-naked girl. He immediately reports the information to the police and they immediately pass it on to the FBI. Corey waits for the FBI with Police Chief Ben, and that's when Agent Jane shows up. Corey says that the body belongs to an 18-year-old girl named Natalie. After examining the body, Jane says it would have been rape. She asks where she might have escaped from. Corey says that judging by the footprints, she might have escaped from the home of a junkie named Sam. Corey also says that judging from the depth of the trail, she might have been running, which could have caused a ruptured lung and she fell. An FBI agent notices Corey's skills and asks him to help with the investigation. Jane wants to solve the crime, but since the death doesn't qualify as a homicide, she can't call the FBI task force to investigate. Then Ben and Corey accompany Jane to Natalie's parents. They learn that Natalie had a boyfriend, but the father does not know his name. Jane is annoyed by her father's attitude toward his daughter, and it pisses off the grieving father. Corey takes matters into his own hands and tries to support his friend Martin. Upon learning that Corey is helping with the investigation, he asks for revenge. Looking for evidence, they go to the nearest house from the crime scene. The owner of the house, named Sam, is a friendly guy. At this point, two of his friends try to escape out the back door, but Corey was counting on it and meets them there with a shovel. Sam opens fire on the cops and Jane eliminates him. A little later they find out that one of Sam's friends is Natalie's addicted brother named Chip. He can't contain his emotions when he learns of his sister's death. At this time, Corey notices snowmobile tracks leading up the hill. Since the body was found behind the hill, they decide to follow the tracks. There they find the body of a man. They return to the drug house, but Sam's friends refuse to cooperate and choose prison. Corey decides to talk to Natalie's brother, whom he has known since childhood. He talks to the guy and asks him to take it over his head, go to college, join the army. But Chip tells him to stay out of his life and tells him that a few years ago Corey himself failed to protect his daughter's life. These words make him furious and Chip decides to tell him about a guy named Matt who works as a security guard on one of the oil rigs. Corey tells the police and Ben asks them to escort him to them, but Corey refuses because he has plans of his own. A little later, Jane tells them that they have managed to identify the body of the boy and it's Matt, who was a security guard on the oil rig. After seeing a picture of her daughter, Jane begins to guess why Corey is helping them. Then she tells him about her daughter Emily. He says that a few years ago she died just like Natalie, and ever since then, he has dreamed every day of avenging his daughter's death. The next day, Corey returns to the hill to investigate Matt's murder, and Ben, Jane and four deputies drive to the set. There they question the site manager about Matt's whereabouts. He wanted an answer from them. However, because he's been missing since he had a fight with his girlfriend Natalie. During the conversation, Jane notices bruises on his face as well as on his co-workers. They say they got these abrasions while riding their snowmobiles around the area. Jane begins to suspect them of involvement in the crime. On the way to Matt's trailer, Jane tries to outsmart the guards. She says that Natalie is still alive and that she reported her boyfriend missing. The head of security is surprised and says that this is impossible since he heard on the radio that a hunter found Natalie's body. This answer makes Jane even more wary, because they never say the name of the deceased for the sake of the radio. At this point, one of the policemen notices that the guards are surrounding them. He begins to panic and a situation arises where everyone pulls out their guns. Luckily for everyone, Jane handles the situation and the shootout is avoided. Then she goes to the trailer and starts knocking on the door. The next shot shows us Natalie and Matt's last night. The lovers were discussing plans for the future, dreaming of having a baby when suddenly Matt's drunken partners pulled up to the trailer. One of them named Pete was really drunk and starts teasing the couple. He tried to look under the covers, which made Matt angry. But Pete isn't going to back down. He wanted to be the third in the relationship. But Matt tried to avoid conflict. One of the guards called Natalie names and a scuffle ensued. Pete wanted to take advantage of the girl, but Matt would not let her get away with it. Natalie tried to help him, but the five guys were stronger. When they lost consciousness, Pete decided to seize the moment. At that moment, Matt came to his senses and threw Pete off. Everyone pounced on him and getting hit after hit, he yelled at Natalie to save herself. Natalie somehow miraculously ran for several miles in the freezing cold, but ended up dead anyway. While Jane is still knocking on the trailer, Corey notices snowmobile tracks on top of the mountains where they found Matt. At this point he realizes that it was the guards who brought Matt's body here, and then made the tracks to the junkie's house to confuse the investigation. He warns Ben on the radio about it, and at that moment, gunfire opens from the trailer and a firefight ensues. Everyone is wounded, but the guards manage to kill the officers. Jane survives thanks to her bulletproof vest, and she tries to fight back, but the security chief takes her gun from her. The man is about to shoot her, but at that moment Corey takes a well-aimed shot from the mountain and kills him. At this point, we realize that Corey was preparing for this outcome. The wounded guards tried to find him, but he is faster and kills them. Corey opens fire on the trailer, but Pete manages to escape into the mountains. He then administers first aid to Jane and heads for the mountains for his main prey. Pete hears the sound of a snowmobile and looks around in panic. He turns back to where Corey is standing and knocks him out. Pete later comes to his senses and realizes that he is on top of the mountain barefoot and his toes are already frostbitten. Corey promises to give him a chance if he confesses to everything, and Pete confesses to killing Matt and raping Natalie. He lets him go and reminds him that Natalie ran for miles barefoot in the snow. Pete starts to run, but Corey is sure that a lowly man like Pete can't even walk 500 meters. He turns out to be right, and a minute later he is already watching Pete's agonizing death. The next day, Corey visits Jane in the hospital. She thinks it's a miracle she survived. Corey tells her that you can only survive in Wyoming if you have strength and spirit. He then visits Natalie's father with a death mask on his face. This indicates that the man wanted to end his life. He comforts his friend, just as Martin receives a phone call from his son who has decided to start his life over in a few years. As soon as he remembers his daughter, Corey tells him how everyone died responsible for her death. And that's all. If you liked the video, like and subscribe to the channel because it helps to promote the video. With you as Recap Roman, and goodbye everyone.